Welcome to Pretoria Prime. As the Pentagon drums up fury over Venezuelan drug boats, the numbers tell a colder truth. Fentanyl, not cocaine, is killing Americans, and Maduro isn't the one sending it. On Glenn Greenwald's System Update, published December 2nd, 2025, Glenn dismantles the lies justifying war with Venezuela. A story unravels that the government desperately hopes you won't notice. Listen, our government is pitching airstrikes and regime change as a cure for an epidemic at home, and the logic is unraveling the moment you put evidence next to rhetoric. Secretary Haast, yes, the man who's turned the Pentagon into a caricature of violence, posts cartoonish images of himself blowing up drug boats, and that image is meant to shortcut scrutiny. President Trump told a New Jersey crowd that the drugs that are being sent into our country and the fact that 300 million people died last year from drugs, that's what's illegal. Marco Rubio has insisted the boats are tracked from origin to destination and that we know who's on them, who they are, where they're coming from, what they have on them. Those claims are politically effective. They are also factually hollow. Public health data, CDC totals, and JAMA analyses show the opioid crisis driving the death toll, overwhelmingly synthetic opioids, primarily fentanyl. Total overdose deaths in a recent year are on the order of 70,000, not 300 million. Cocaine deaths, the only ones you could plausibly point at Venezuela for, are a fraction of that number and predominantly tied to supply chains in Colombia. Fentanyl's manufacture and precursors trace back to other geographies and trafficking routes. Saying Maduro's regime explains America's fentanyl crisis is like insisting the wrong country holds the blueprints for a poison we already know how and where it is made. That mismatch matters because policy should follow cause, not spectacle. You can applaud the stated intent to stop suppliers. That's reasonable. You should also ask why military theatrics are chosen over public health strategy when the data point clearly to domestic demand and supply chains that don't run primarily through Caracas. History supplies a template. Exaggerated threats get militarized responses. Think the WMD playbook, and the operational record has ugly echoes. Drone strikes once leapt on flimsy intelligence, then revealed opaque after-action claims and tragic mistakes. Here, officials claim perfect knowledge of who's on those boats. Reporting and experience say uncertainty is the norm. If you believe strikes will meaningfully reduce fentanyl deaths, explain the causal chain. How do speedboat explosions in international waters choke off a synthetic opioid market, whose drivers are domestic addiction, Chinese precursor chemicals, and Mexican transit? Who benefits from converting a public health catastrophe into a war story? Who controls the silence around inconvenient data? Why again are we outsourcing answers to a military solution when the problem's gravity stems from unmet domestic material, mental health, and social needs? This moment requires blunt honesty. The core justification for targeting Venezuela on anti-drug grounds is not supported by the evidence the public can check. That does not mean officials are necessarily lying about their motives. It does mean the rhetorical frame. Maduro, as the root cause of American overdose deaths, is a politically potent distraction. We are right to demand an explanation, to demand that policymakers show the chain of evidence linking Venezuelan activity to the fentanyl toll. And until they do, recognize the pattern: threat inflated, violence authorized, responsibility diverted. You don't go to war over unproven claims about drug boats, especially when fentanyl isn't coming from where you're pointing the missiles. Why again? Who benefits? Who controls the silence? That's it, my friends. Please like and subscribe to support my channel. You can find more content on my Spotify and on YouTube under the handle @Pretoria Prime. Until we meet again, this was Scipio Americanus of Pretoria Prime News.